If INFJs can learn to speak out for themselves, relationships won't be as difficult for us. My parents have always said that I had an easy time in school since I was punctual, established good sleep habits, and they never had to remind me to do my homework. Looking back, I do believe that I was inherently good at studying, and that, for the most part, I was one of the oddballs who genuinely enjoyed going to school. I have the same thoughts about my job. My 9-to-5 job sense of routine and normalcy is enjoyable. I change my schedule accordingly, and I enjoy the accountability that comes with accepting new responsibilities. But romantic relationships have never been easy for me as an INFJ, one of the 16 Myers-Briggs personality types. INFJs and Enneagram Type 1 Second have rather idealistic aspirations for relationships, but I don't believe idealism is the main cause of my difficulty in finding someone with whom I can envision myself spending the rest of my life. The real culprits are my dominant mental process, introverted intuition, and my tertiary mental process, introverted thinking. This is why INFJs are complex beings. Many INFJs struggle to recognize their own emotions and express what they desire in a relationship. Not without practice, at least. What type are you when you're single and looking for love? Is a common question. Or what do you enjoy doing? And those are specific, perceptual inquiries that aid in identifying qualities such as looks, humor, social standing, and vibes that most individuals base their romantic relationships on. The INFJ, the most uncommon Myers-Briggs type, is not a simple being, though. The meaning of those queries is unknown to us. We might not be drawn to someone's intelligence if we are attracted to their appearance. Even though someone with a steady job may be monotonous, we value stability highly. INFJs overanalyze everything about relationships, and for good reason. We are adept at figuring out people's underlying agendas. In order to create 5 completely unrelated scenarios with person C and closure, which INFJs like, we imagine 10 different scenarios with person L and 10 different scenarios with person B. Why INFJs think too much? So why do we overthink things? Is it a result of our tendency toward perfection or high expectations? We may not want to bother them with our feelings because we are empaths who absorb those of others. Sincerely, I don't believe that. I believe that our intense fear regarding our own emotions is the source of our tendency to overanalyze things. We may have similar difficulty verbalizing our thoughts as a thinker type, such as the INTJ. We may turn to silence when we are unable to come up with the ideal phrase to express our desires, to maintaining score, expecting the other to ingest our feelings and read them aloud as if we were a character in a romance story. Or we find it difficult to set any boundaries in our connection. People-pleasing, giving up power, and saying anything that might make the other person even slightly uncomfortable are all things we deal with when we don't express our needs. For instance, I have such a hard time expressing my feelings that even though I was really thirsty and felt like I would pass out while out with my boyfriend, I never once asked him for a glass of water. I never once mentioned feeling unwell. Instead, I pushed the date along while grinning and nodding so I could return to my car, where I had been hiding out for 2 weeks, and sip from a steaming hot water bottle. Why didn't I just request a glass of water? I'm not sure. I believe I may not have wanted to bother him, interfere with our talk, or appear needy in any way. Of course, INFJs aren't the only personality type that occasionally has trouble expressing their needs and wants, but it does tend to be a huge issue for us. We INFJs find ourselves unfulfilled when we fall into this trap. Due to our growing frustration as a result of this, we often turn to the iconic door slam. I find it so much simpler to speak from a position of reasoning than it is to express my emotions. I enjoy working in the finance industry because of it. I find it easier to be analytical than emotional, but if you tell me your ex-boyfriend cheated on you over the 4th of July weekend, I'll get quite emotional. When you inform me about your work promotion, I'll be so happy for you. However, when I accomplish anything noteworthy, I transform into a thinker and reason that being proud of oneself is not being humble or that no one is actually interested in what I have to say. How to tune into your emotions. Why does it matter, then? It's important because, while being excellent counselors, INFJs often struggle to analyze their own emotions. That's because when we go inward, we move to an analytical rather than an emotional place. We exhibit an amazing ability to sense the temperature of a room when we face outward. Consequently, use your reasoning to ask yourself feelings-related questions like, how does this connection make me feel right now? Not in 5 years' time. Today. Do I feel good about it right now? Not in 5 years' time. Today. Do I feel good about it right now? If the response is affirmative, you are free to stop thinking. If the response is no, you should consider why. Is it as a result of your inability to request a drink of water? Is it because your partner unintentionally upset you? Or might it be something more serious like a breakdown in communication, or a conflict over fundamental principles? Whatever it is, you must express it verbally. You need to stop overthinking the situation and take action. But also be gentle to yourself because that ability does not develop overnight. You'll always have a propensity to consider a result before choosing to feel it. So make use of logic to your benefit. Don't just disappear without saying anything. Don't let your rage fade away with the sun. Imagine having a chat with your lover while deciding how you want to communicate. Be resolute yet firm. If we're prepared to take the chance of showing our vulnerability, we INFJs don't have to struggle in relationships. The magic of the evening might never stop if we can find comfort outside of our brains and if we can request a drink of water.